Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this video. It is so wonderful to have you here today, taking a moment out of your day to learn and explore the incredible world we live in. Before we dive in, I genuinely hope you are feeling happy, healthy, and full of positive energy. Wherever you are in the world, whatever you are doing, I am sending you my best wishes and do pray that you, and your loved ones, are always blessed with good health and happiness. Now, let's begin our journey into one of the most fascinating stories ever told, and it is a story that is happening inside of you, right this very second. Have you ever just stopped to think about what you are truly made of? I am not talking about your thoughts, your feelings, or your dreams, as amazing as those are. I am talking about the actual, physical stuff that constructs your body. The raw materials. It is a question that has fascinated philosophers and scientists for millennia. And the answer is not just profound. It is also incredibly surprising and wonderfully poetic. You see, your body, my body, every human body, is a universe in itself, a collection of atoms that have been on an epic journey across space and time to come together and form you. And of all the elements that make you, there is one that stands out as the absolute champion of life, the fundamental building block, the element of elements. That element is carbon. And here is a fact that might just blow your mind, one that perfectly illustrates the sheer amount of this magical stuff inside you. Your body, right now, contains enough carbon to make 9,000 pencils. Let that number sink in for a moment. 9,000 pencils. That is a stack taller than a house, a line longer than several football fields. It is an almost unimaginable number of pencils, all sourced from the carbon right inside you. But what does that even mean? How can the same material that makes the dark, smudgy core of a pencil also be the very foundation of your muscles, your bones, your brain, and your DNA? To understand that, we need to go on a little adventure. We need to shrink down, smaller than small, to the atomic level. Imagine zooming in on your hand, past the skin, past the cells, into the very molecules that give it structure. There, you would find atoms dancing and connecting in an intricate, dizzying ballet. Atoms are the fundamental particles that make up everything in the universe, from the air we breathe to the distant stars. And carbon atoms are the social butterflies of the atomic world. They are unique because they have a special talent for forming strong, stable links, called bonds, with up to 4 other atoms at the same time. This includes an unmatched ability to form long chains and complex rings and branching structures with other carbon atoms. It is like they are the ultimate Lego blocks, with 4 connectors on each block instead of just 2, allowing for unimaginably complex and stable constructions. This one property of carbon is the reason you exist. It is the reason any life as we know it exists. Without carbon's ability to form these long, complex molecules, the intricate machinery of a living cell would be impossible. There would be no proteins to carry out functions, no DNA to hold instructions, no fats to build cell walls, no sugars to provide energy. Carbon is the architectural backbone of it all. Now, let us talk about that pencil. A pencil lead is not actually made of lead. That is just a historical name that stuck. The core of a pencil is made from a mixture of clay and a form of carbon called graphite. Graphite is a mineral that forms deep within the earth under immense heat and pressure over millions of years. If you were to look at a piece of graphite under a super powerful microscope, you would see something beautiful. It is made up of layers and layers of carbon atoms, all arranged in a hexagonal pattern, like a sheet of chicken wire. These sheets, called graphene, are only 1 atom thick, and they are stacked on top of each other. The magic of a pencil is that these layers are held together very weakly. When you drag a pencil across paper, these sheets of carbon atoms easily slide off the tip of the pencil and stick to the paper, leaving behind the familiar dark mark. So, in its essence, writing with a pencil is simply depositing a thin layer of carbon atoms onto a sheet of paper. It is atomic calligraphy. So, the statement is that your body has enough of the raw material, carbon atoms, to create 9,000 of these graphite pencil cores. But your body is not made of graphite. Far from it. You are soft, warm, and flexible, not brittle and flaky like a mineral. So how can the same element be responsible for both? This is the wonder of chemistry and atomic structure. It is all about how those carbon atoms are arranged and what other atoms they are holding hands with. The carbon in your body is not arranged in sheets like graphite. Instead, each carbon atom is lovingly connected to a diverse team of other atoms, primarily hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and phosphorus, with sprinklings of many others like sulfur, calcium, and iron. These teams form the magnificent molecules of life. Let us meet some of these molecular superstars that are built on a framework of carbon. First, we have the carbohydrates. The name itself tells you what they are made of: carbon and water, or hydrate. Sugars and starches are all carbohydrates. That morning toast, the pasta for lunch, the sugar in your coffee, these are all sources of carbon that your body breaks down and uses for its most immediate energy needs. The glucose sugar molecule, for instance, is a neat little ring of carbon atoms decorated with oxygen and hydrogen. This molecule is like the universal fuel card for your body's cells. Your cells break the bonds between these carbon atoms, and that breaking releases the energy that powers everything you do, from thinking to running. So, a significant portion of your body's carbon is currently locked up in the sugar molecules circulating in your blood, ready to be used, or stored in a more complex form called glycogen in your liver and muscles, which is just thousands of glucose molecules linked together in a massive carbon chain, an energy savings account for your body. Then we have the lipids, which are mostly fats and oils. If carbohydrates are for quick energy, fats are for long-term energy storage and for building crucial structures. A fat molecule, like the triglyceride that might be stored in your adipose tissue, is essentially a trio of long carbon chains attached to a small backbone. These long chains are why fats are so energy-dense. They are packed with carbon atoms, and each bond between those carbon atoms represents a stored packet of energy. This is why your body can burn fat for fuel when food is scarce. But fats are not just stored energy, they are also fundamental to every single one of your trillions of cells. The cell membrane, the delicate skin that holds a cell together and controls what goes in and out, is made largely of molecules called phospholipids, which also have those long carbon chain tails. So, the very barrier that defines you as an individual collection of cells is built from carbon. The carbon in that pencil could, in a different arrangement, be part of the wall of a neuron in your brain. Next, and perhaps most importantly, are the proteins. Proteins are the workhorses of the cell. They do almost everything. They are enzymes that catalyze chemical reactions millions of times faster than they would occur on their own. They are the structural fibers like collagen that give your skin strength and elasticity and that form your tendons and ligaments. They are the antibodies that fight infection, the hormones that carry messages, and the motors that allow your muscles to contract. And every single protein is a masterpiece of carbon architecture. Proteins are made by linking together smaller molecules called amino acids into long chains, which then fold into intricate, three-dimensional shapes. And every single amino acid is built around a central carbon atom. This carbon atom holds on to 4 different groups: an amino group, an acid group, a hydrogen atom, and a unique side chain that gives each amino acid its personality. There are 20 standard amino acids, and the specific order of hundreds or thousands of them, determined by your DNA, creates every unique protein in your body. So, the strength in your muscles, the digestion in your stomach, the color of your eyes, all of these are functions of proteins, and therefore, functions of carbon. And that brings us to the crown jewel, the molecule that holds the instructions for making all those proteins and for building you, deoxyribonucleic acid, or DNA. The famous double helix is perhaps the most iconic symbol of life itself. And guess what its backbone is made of? You guessed it, a long chain of carbon atoms, specifically carbon atoms that are part of sugar molecules. The spine of the DNA ladder is made of alternating units of a sugar called deoxyribose and phosphate groups. And each deoxyribose sugar is a 5-carbon ring. Attached to each sugar is one of the 4 nucleobases, adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine, which form the rungs of the ladder and spell out your genetic code. But even those bases are rings of carbon and nitrogen atoms. So, your entire genetic blueprint, everything that makes you biologically you, from your tendency to have curly hair to your metabolic quirks, is written in a language of molecules built upon a foundation of carbon atoms. The carbon in your body is not just a passive building material, it is an active information carrier. So, we have established that you are, without a doubt, a carbon-based life form. But where did all this carbon come from? This is where the story gets truly cosmic. The carbon atoms in your body were not created on Earth. They are ancient. They are stardust. In the beginning, after the Big Bang, the universe was mostly just hydrogen and a little bit of helium. These are the simplest elements. For billions of years, stars served as the factories for creating heavier elements. In the intense heat and pressure at the core of a star, hydrogen atoms are fused together to make helium. In larger stars, this process continues, fusing helium into carbon, and then carbon into even heavier elements like oxygen and nitrogen. Your carbon was forged in the heart of a massive star that lived and died long before our sun even ignited. When that star eventually ran out of fuel, it did not go quietly. It ended its life in a cataclysmic explosion known as a supernova, one of the most violent and energetic events in the universe. In that unimaginable inferno, even heavier elements were created, and all of them, including your carbon, were blasted out across the cosmos, scattering into vast clouds of gas and dust. Eventually, gravity began to pull one of these clouds together, a cloud enriched with the ashes of that long-dead star. At the center, our sun ignited. Around it, the remaining dust and gas swirled and clumped together, forming the planets. The carbon, along with all the other elements, became part of the Earth. Some of it became the graphite that we would later mine for pencils. But a lot of it became part of the early Earth's chemistry. Through processes we are still trying to understand, these atoms began to link up into those complex carbon-based molecules. Some of them may have arrived on asteroids and comets that bombarded the young Earth. Somehow, somewhere, in a warm little pond or at a hydrothermal vent deep in the ocean, these molecules began to self-assemble and replicate. Life began. And that life was built from that stardust carbon. It ate other carbon-based molecules to grow. For billions of years, this carbon has been cycling through the biosphere. It has been in ancient bacteria, in the leaves of gigantic ferns eaten by dinosaurs, in the plankton of ancient seas, and in countless other life forms. Every carbon atom in your body has been on a billion-year journey through the cosmos and through the history of life on Earth. The carbon in your DNA right now might have once been part of a Tyrannosaurus rex, a blade of grass, a mighty oak tree, or a famous historical figure. We are all, literally, connected through this endless recycling of carbon. This brings us back to our original, astonishing fact. How can we possibly have enough carbon for 9,000 pencils? Well, it comes down to simple math and the sheer number of atoms that make you, you. An average adult human body weighs about 70 kilograms, though this can vary quite a bit. Of that mass, approximately 18% is carbon. That is the next mind-bending thing to consider. You are almost 1/5 carbon. So, for a 70-kilogram person, that is about 12.6 kilograms of pure carbon. Now, let us look at a pencil. A standard pencil lead weighs very little, about 0.2 grams. Most of that weight is actually the clay binder, only about half of it, or 0.1 grams, is the graphite carbon. So, if you have 12,600 grams of carbon in your body, which is 12.6 kilograms, and each pencil requires 0.1 grams of carbon, you simply divide the total by the amount per pencil. 12,600 divided by 0.1 equals 126,000. Wait, that is 126,000 pencils. That is far more than 9,000. So what is the deal? The commonly cited fact usually says, enough carbon for 9,000 pencils, and this is likely based on an average body mass for a younger person or a smaller individual, or it might be using a slightly different calculation for the graphite content. Perhaps it is considering the pure carbon content needed, not the weight of the graphite clay mixture. The exact number is not as important as the staggering scale it represents. Whether it is 9,000 or 126,000, the point is powerfully made. You contain a vast, almost unbelievable quantity of the element of life. You are a walking, talking reservoir of carbon. This fact is not just a neat party trick, it is a profound reminder of our place in the universe. We are not separate from the natural world, we are a dynamic, integral part of it. The same atoms that form the rocks, the air, and the oceans are the same atoms that form our thoughts and our dreams. When you hold a pencil, you are holding a cousin of the atoms that are currently allowing you to hold it. You are looking at a different form of the same stuff that lets you see it. The carbon in that pencil and the carbon in you share a common origin in the heart of a star. You are, in the most literal sense possible, made of stardust. This connection is humbling and empowering at the same time. It tells us that we are ancient, we are universal, and we are forever linked to the cosmos and to every other living thing on this pale blue dot. So the next time you pick up a pencil to write a note, draw a picture, or just doodle in the margin, take a second to appreciate it. That simple, everyday object is a mirror. It reflects a fundamental truth about what you are. You are a collection of atoms that have witnessed the birth and death of stars, that have traveled across galaxies, and that have now come together to form a conscious being capable of wonder, capable of understanding its own origins. You are not just a human being, you are the universe becoming aware of itself. And you have enough of the universe's most creative element inside you to draw your story 9,000 times over. So go out there and make it a good one. Thank you for watching, and never stop being amazed by the wonder that is you.